What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I want to recap the one idea that I had, and today was on ORPN. And if you guys have been around for, throughout the course of the day, you know that I actually skipped this idea, and it was pretty painful because it ended up working out perfectly. Now, this setup was a part of my system, it is part of my playbook. The problem is there were a couple of things. It wasn't doing a whole lot of volume at the time. So the setup was a flag breakout. And that is basically our long setup. That is basically my long setup right now, as that is what has been hot in this market. So that's where my focus is. And you can see this was the flag setup on the 5 minute, not on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute. It was setting up on the 15 minute. It was a nice setup. Keeping ORPN taking a look at it for a possible move over this flag. Spread is crappy at the moment. Ideally, I would be taking it at 1.61, but spread is crappy. And I actually ended up skipping it because of that. And it cost me, basically $3,000 by skipping this position, with my $500 of risk that I do take on every single position. And, I brought discretion into the position. Now, it was a little spready. The real reason I didn't take this position, it had about a 3 cent spread at the time between the bid and the ask, like 157 to 160. The reason I didn't really take it is this candle. I really didn't like this candle right here, but that is so micro. You want to look at the macro. The macro was, okay, it's setting up for a flag. It's holding up. It's building higher lows. The micro is, yeah, okay, this candle doesn't look so great. But again, macro over micro. We're looking for the bigger move. Shorts might be getting squeezed if they're looking at this candle as well, and they're saying, okay, I'm going to short this candle because there's some serious indecision. Longs are going to panic out, and then when it breaks over the flag, it ended up ripping. So when it did actually get to 1.61, and you can see the idea was actually right here. And you can see I also talked about it right here. Ideally, I would be taking it at 1.61, but spread is crappy. So it was like 157 by 160, 157 on the bid, 160 on the ask. And I didn't like that. I didn't really like this candle, but again, it's a setup and it's part of my system, so I should be participating. I had everything ready to go. I knew that, okay, to risk $500, I was going to be taking, as you can see here, 7,142 shares. That's $11,500 investment. And that's what I go into positions, that I'm comfortable risking. $500 for some of you guys, it might be only $50. It doesn't really matter. Everyone's at a different part in their career. When I first started out, by no means was I risking $500 per position. I would have told you that's ludicrous back in the day if you thought that I could take a position and risk and be comfortable risking this amount of money. But as my win rate went up, as I found consistency, as I started to add about 20% every time, this is where I'm currently at. And by the end of the year, hopefully I'm comfortable risking maybe $1,000, but who knows? Right now I'm very comfortable with $500. I've been comfortable with this amount for quite some time, and I've been really happy with the income that the market has provided me by taking the risk that I'm comfortable with. And at this given time, it's $500. But again, you really want to leave discretion out of your ideas, out of the market. This was a setup. Everything made sense to me, but this one little candle decided, there was some indecision, and because of that, I skipped a position. Now, when it did finally break over this candle at 159, the bid was at 160 and the ask was at 161, and that's when the spread actually really tightened up, and that was a good sign. And I had everything ready to go, and I was thinking about it, and I hesitated, and again, there was discretion, and because of it, I skipped the idea, and it ripped. And now this is a pretty low float stock from my understanding. Let me take a look at it. On Yahoo Finance, if you go to statistics, you can see that this is a 1.58 million float. Now, it seems like I don't know who, someone also probably bought this position, probably a little bit higher over this level. over 1.75, and it kind of shot it right up. I think they had some members behind them buying even higher than them, and that kind of caused this, vertical move right up. But the idea was at 1.61. You don't want to be buying higher than that. It's a flag break, risking off 154, only risking 6 cents per share, 7 cents per share, excuse me. So very tight risk for a nice reward to 190. Ended up ripping all the way to 2. So it would have went past that final target if you hopped in this position. I saw a few members did actually participate in this position. Congrats for not bringing discretion into play, because you really don't want to do that. You want to have a system, and that system is basically all it is an if-then statement. Know your stats on that system, know your stats on those setups, and then you go, if this happens, then I do that. If it hits 1.61, then I get long this position, risking off 154. If it goes to my target, I sell half at 1.70. If it continues to work out, then I piece out in quarters, or I sell the rest with a stop at break even if it comes back down, to ensure that I'm in the green. So work on your systematic process in the market. Have those if-then statements in place, and good things are going to happen. Now, when I missed this position, yes, I was absolutely infuriated, because making $3,000 in a few seconds is something that definitely gets to me if I miss a setup because of some discretion that I let get into my mind, that I let some discretion creep into my mind. So that is annoying, but at the end of the day, we are human. We're not perfect. I'm going to make more mistakes down the road. I'm glad this mistake didn't cost me any money. Instead, it, made me miss a setup, but so be it. If you can get yourself to build out a system that you're very comfortable with, that, you have stats proving that it works over time, then you're never going to really run after a stock. After missing this, back in the day when I first got into the market, if I missed a setup like this, I would have been buying it at $2 or $2.05 or $2.10 when I first got started. But now, and for the last couple of years, after missing a setup, it's very easy for me to not run after it. But until you have a system, it's very hard for you not to run after a stock. If you don't have a system and you miss your setup, you're probably going to be buying higher and higher and running after a stock, and then you're going to be getting dumped on. So it's very important to have a system, because it's going to prevent you from, taking too many positions, from, taking poor setups, running after a stock. So that's very important. Then another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is, income. Sure, making money in the market is my biggest source of income, but I do have a few other sources of income, and I don't think a lot of other people talk about this. There's nothing wrong with having multiple sources of income. I make the most amount of money in the market, and I make more money in the market than most people do at a 9 to 5, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, and in the shoes to be able to do that. But I do have other sources of income that keep me grounded, that prevent me from running after a stock, that allows me to say, okay, I missed this setup, I screwed up, but there's no reason to run after this stock, because I don't need to make money today, because I know long term in the market, over the course of a month, over the course of the year, over the course of my career, I make plenty of money in the market to be very comfortable with the life that I live. But at the same time, I also have other sources of income. I do some affiliate marketing. I do make some money off this community. I work with, a few small local businesses improving their social media. I don't do a whole lot, but, making a few $1,000 doing this, and then a few $1,000 doing that, it all adds up. Again, the market is my biggest source of income. I could live off what I make in the market, of course. But there's nothing wrong with seeing if you can, whether that's working a part-time position or working a full-time position, or maybe selling some stuff on eBay that you don't use. There's nothing wrong with, adding some additional sources of income and working towards those, because it's really going to bring you some comfort in the market when, you have a screw up like this, where you skip out on a position, or maybe that position doesn't go your way. You're able to, take a step back, live your life, be very happy with where you're at, and understand it's okay. I could come back later, when something does present itself, and I will participate in that setup and I'm going to crush it. So there's nothing wrong with having multiple sources of income. Make sure you have a system because it allows you to, have these if-then statements. If this happens, then I do that. Of course, you're going to screw up from time to time. It happens. We're human. We're not robots. But it's also going to prevent you from running after stock. And again, in the beginning, I completely understand. When I first got in the market, I would run after every single stock and I would get absolutely dumped on. I know it can get boring being so patient in this market, but as the saying goes, the market only rewards those who are most patient, something along those lines, not even sure. But you really do have to be patient in the market and good things will come. Keep crushing it. Don't give up. You guys got this. It takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. If there's no setup, there's no setup. If you screwed up, you screwed up. On to the next. Learn from it. On to the next. Good things will come. Take care, everyone. Hope you guys all absolutely crushed it today.